another live interview show with Become a Fearless Father. And today my guest, Stephen, and I hope I pronounced this correctly, Shedletzky.
Nailed it.
Oh, nice. Must be the Dutch accent.
There you go.
Excellent. So thank you so much for hopping on. We'll go in a minute into more deep in depth of who is Stephen. But first, right, I have a big question, man, because I like what you put. And it was, how to connect with depth to live in a world, in a more fulfilled world, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And I love that. And I thought, you know what? I got to dive into that. So how does one connect with depth? Depth. Sorry. That's accent also.
Yeah, depth. Care, genuine curiosity. I mean, when we connect with depth, that's when we build relationships. And what makes us strong as a species, if you want to get all anthropological, is trust and cooperation. And I think technology, we live in the digital age. Technology is a powerful tool. We're having this conversation and we're, thousands of kilometers apart in different time zones. Amazing. And technology is very good at access to information. Like, never again do I have to wonder, who was that actor in that movie and what was the name of that? Like, brain farts are solved. We can speed transactions and we can form connections. But what this platform is junk at is building relationships. Like, it's just not as good. Like, you need the awkward pauses, and so there's power in technology. But I'm a really big believer in connecting with depth and building relationship in person, because in the end, that's all we have is our relationships.
Exactly. And when you say in person, do you mean like in person like this online as well? Or do you mean specifically just to take it completely offline?
I mean, listen, this is better than text message. And better than this would be sitting in a coffee shop, being able to shake hands, being able to understand, more of your surroundings and facial expressions. So this is cool and better. But like, I once fell in love with someone over Skype. We met in person. Now, it wasn't right, And so this is long distance relationship, which does, like, it's okay, but in the end, in person.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminded me of, I always like, you get tons of friends invites on Facebook and then you accept them and all you get is like he waved.
Yeah.
I'm like, you waved? What's that? Yeah. I actually made a how do you call that? I told myself, like, anybody that's just gonna send me an invite, when I accept, if they wave, I immediately unfriend them. I find it personal. But where's the interest, right?
Yeah.
So
my rule is, if I come across your profile and I'm friends with you, or I follow you or whatever, and I wouldn't say hello to you in person, or you wouldn't say hello to me, then we're not friends.
Yeah.
Right. And like, we know this, Robin Dunbar's number, like, we can have about 150 stable social relationships. So like, when you ask a 14-year-old, how many friends do you have? And they're like, well, I have 2,000 followers, or on Facebook, I don't think kids are on Facebook anymore, but like, friends aren't something to accumulate. Friends are something to invest in and foster a relationship with.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm working real hard on my, what I call power surroundings of 5, and looking for those 5 that really complement me, and that, so I can invest the time, as you say, right? It's easy to focus on 5 than focus on 5,000.
You can't. It's biologically impossible to focus on 5,000. Can't do it.
Exactly. Great, man. I appreciate that. So let's dive a little bit into who's Stephen, right? Give us your background story. And I always, just as a reminder with Dadpreneur, so it's very important that you also share what your family setup is like, married, how long, how many kids, how old, and that kind of stuff, so everybody can wrap their head around the whole picture.
Sure. So first and foremost, I'm driven to contribute towards a vision of the world, which is one in which the vast majority of us wake up feeling inspired to go to work. We feel safe where we work and live. And at the end of the day, we feel fulfilled by what we do. And I think that relates directly to parenting, because if we love what we do work wise, whether we work from home or work in an office or wherever it might be, or work on a construction site, wherever we work. Let's face it, in our adult lives, we typically will spend more time at work than we do with our friends and our family. And when I'm not traveling on the road, I work from home.
Mm.
And my wife, who's on maternity leave right now, I'll see her, but it's like 3 minutes at a time, and I'm running to the next meeting. Like, I'm not home.
Mhm.
I'm commuting from my basement office. Um, so when we love our work, we're all the more likely to treat our spouses better, treat our kids better, treat our friends, our neighbors better. And so, we're in the business of creating better work environments, which create better everything environments.
Nice.
I've been working with Simon Sinek, who's the founder of our team, for over 8 years.
Mhm.
I started in our mail room, and have stuck it out. And I now lead brand experience, and I lead our team of igniters. So
Mhm.
brand experience is ensuring that our culture on the inside of the company feels like it does from what we preach on a stage or preach in a book, which is
Mhm.
an infinite game in and of itself. It never ends, and it's always changing. Um, and I ensure that all of our products and partnerships and anything that goes from the inside of the company to the outside of the company reflects our most deeply held values and
Mhm.
beliefs. Um, and then I get to do work like this, client work, work to help leaders and organizations connect more deeply with themselves and their people. And yeah, I'm a dad of two. My eldest is 3.5. My youngest is 8.5 months. Been married for just over 5 years, and learning a lot about when I'm triggered, how to breathe, how to recover from turning into a Hulk parent, when your emotions just get the better of you, how to say sorry really quickly and mean it, and be specific about what you're sorry about, so that
Mhm.
your kids can learn from you.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm also learning a lot with my wife right now, who's a professional as well. Um, and I'm just gonna fix my internet here. Uh, she is a professional as well, and her identity is changing quite a bit. Do you
Mhm.
still have me, Klaas?
Yep.
Yes.
I do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Um, yeah, her identity is changing quite a bit from uh, profession was a bit higher up on the list for her, and now she's a
Mm.
mom, and that means something. And so, learning through shifts, which is really valuable as well.
Exactly. Exactly. Love it. Thanks. You gave me just a bucket full more of questions than I want to ask.
Cool.
So I really appreciate that. One of the things that popped in my head immediately when you said, like, we're really trying to create, so people enjoy the that work, right? Which is huge, because immediately I keep seeing who popped in my head immediately, Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? When he's saying, I think 70% or 80% of people working is just not happy with what they're doing, right? That
Hmm.
makes your message and your mission that much more important, because what they do there, then they're not happy, then they come home. We have a hard time switching, right, and going from now I'm grumpy to, hey, I'm home, honey, yay, it's
Yeah.
okay, how was your day,
Yeah.
and just we keep going, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, and I'll just say, especially and if you're a dadpreneur, and more people are working remote.
mm-hmm,
I mean, like, my office is like right above me is my wife, and then above her is my son, who's napping right now. Like,
yeah,
I have to be very deliberate about when I end my day. Like, I'm creating some rituals around, like, write my list, finish the things. I'm on as a dad now for the next 3 hours.
mm-hmm,
Usually I'll put in another hour or 2 hours in the evening, but not always.
mm-hmm.
But for me, it's what like, I've got a buddy who says when he works from home, he literally changes his clothes when he's done his work day, to signal it's
Mm,
shifted now, and my focus
I
is
like that.
is home. And how can you create those healthy boundaries? Because as soon as this thing starts binging and buzzing, you're still working. So
Yep.
anyway, that's just something that came to mind.
Yeah, I like that. I never heard that before. I don't do it. I got home clothes on. But I can definitely understand that's a great trigger for yourself to say, okay, done working. Now it's time to fully focus. See, I'm lucky when I always go pick up the kids, so I walk outside. That for me already is like, okay, nice cool wind in my face, and it's like, okay, done. And I try
Yeah.
to leave my phone, like Facebook is not on my phone and stuff like that. It's so important. I see so many parents when we go to the playground, just sitting there and watching their phone, which I learned now not to judge, right? Everybody has their own life and their busyness. However,
Sure.
I think you miss an opportunity to go nuts and go all out with your kids.
Well, but it's also the message it's sending to your kids
Mm,
is you're not the most important thing to me right now, or my attention is at minimum divided.
yeah, absolutely. So I saw a video, a short video of you talking and explaining about balance, life work balance, right?
Hmm.
And I keep hearing people like balance is impossible. It's a myth. And I'm actually I think it is possible. It just also depends on what does balance mean to you, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I love the video. It was short, but it was really to the point. So I would love to hear your philosophy in regards to balance of life and work.
Yeah, I mean, the balance takes work,
Mm,
um, and uh, it has less to do with the number of hours you work in a week. It has nothing to do if you do hot yoga or if there's free lunch cafeteria at your work. Work life balance is you love who you can be at work, and you love who you can be
mm,
in your life outside of work at home. And if one of those places you don't love, then you're out of balance.
mm-hmm.
And let's be real, one affects the other. If I'm having trouble at work,
Yeah,
it shows up at home, and vice versa,
absolutely.
right? And
Yep.
if you're a leader of a team at an organization, you better know that, right? Because what happens outside of those four walls, digital or real, is real.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, I mean, um, a big part of our work is why. What's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? And you don't have a home why and a professional why. You have one why, and the
Mm-hmm.
goal is that all the things that you do in your life, work, parenting, friendship, volunteerism, everything, proves who you are and what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so the goal is to involve yourself with things at home and at work that represent your most deeply held values and beliefs. And then you will lead a life of balance, which constantly takes work.
Exactly. So that makes me. I appreciate you. You made it easy for me. That leads me to the next question. Is okay. A lot of people either don't or haven't spent the time to find their why, or are struggling to find it. Right.
Hmm.
And one of my coaches, he said, find your why that makes you cry, and then. And I was just wondering, like, what is what is the approach? What's the strategy to find that why that gives you the drive and the energy to, would you say, like, love your work
Hmm.
and love your life?
Sure. So there's a process,
Hmm.
and we have tools to help. But the biggest thing is you can't do it on your own,
Okay.
right? Is because we can't be objective with ourselves.
Mm.
I can't look in the mirror and say, Stephen, what's my why? The response is like, shut up, you idiot, right? Like I can't be objective. And so
Mhm.
our why is our origin story. Our why is who we are, and who we are is where we come from. And so to
Mhm.
find your why, you actually look to your past. And our
Mhm.
why is not something we're born with. Our why is something that by the time you're 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, it's fully formed because it's based on your life experiences. It's
Wow.
based on the people and experiences that have shaped you. And so there are a couple of ways to find it. I'll give you the longer way and then the shorter way, or at least not a hack, but a start. So the way you find it is you look to your past and you think of peaks and valleys. You think of the specific times in your life where time stood still, you loved it, you would love to revisit those experiences. And then you think of the valleys. So those are the peaks. The valleys are times that were really tough.
Mm-hmm.
You would not want to revisit them, though it says something about who you are. Perhaps one of your values was really pushed, but you came out the other end a better
Mm-hmm.
person, or you are who you are because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been the loss of someone special. It could have been a horrible boss or a bad job, just something hard. And then the big thing is once you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stories, specific moments with specific people that have impacted or shaped you, you
Mm-hmm.
share that with a partner, someone who can listen and ask you questions about what matters about each of those experiences. And the patterns that exist and keep coming up through those stories are your personal values and beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
which help form your why. And your why has two components, a contribution and an impact. A
Mm-hmm.
contribution is your top strength. It's the thing that you do. Mine is to engage with people in meaningful ways. Can't not do it. Sometimes I do it too much, right? And my impact is for the sake of what? I can't do my impact, but it's what I wish for myself and others to feel. My impact is so that we connect with depth and live in a more fulfilled world. It's the
Mm-hmm.
reason why I do everything. Put it together, I have a thing that I do for the sake of creating something in the world. The other fun little way that you can do it is make a list of like the top 3 friends that you have in your life. These are people that choose to be friends with you. People that if they called you at 3 a.m., you'd pick up the phone and you're like, "Oh my God, are you okay? What can I do?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you ask them, "Why are you friends with me?" They're like, "Really?" You're like, "I'm doing this exercise. I'm trying to figure out who I am at my best. Why are you friends with me?" And they'll give you, you know, silly, obvious answers. I've known you for a while. I can trust you. We have so much fun. Like, great. You've defined what it means to be a friend. What about me? Um, and it might take them some time. It could take 10 to 15 minutes with lots of awkward silence. But what will happen is they'll stop describing you and they'll begin to describe the impact that you have on them.
Mm-hmm.
They'll say, I can just be in a room with you and I'm more positive. Like, ooh, okay. So, and when your friend says something that makes you emotional,
Mm-hmm.
now you're onto something. So those are 2 ways to do it, and we have tools on our site to help at simonsinek.com to help just with that.
Awesome. Thanks, Christopher. I appreciate that. Yes, that was definitely awesome stuff. I will make sure that the website's in the description session as well for the people that are listening to the podcast or watching this on a replay on the YouTube channel. You can find that link in the description section. So it's easily accessible. You don't have to look all over for the place. That's amazing. So how did you, like, who helped you? You said like you need a partner, right? Who helped you find your why and your purpose?
Sure. So when I joined our team, I admittedly outsourced my why to Simon Sinek.
Nice.
Like, yeah, I believe in him. He inspires me. My why is just his. Turns out that was pretty disempowering because, though I have many similarities with him, turns out we're not clones. And we are indeed 2 separate individuals, and that I have my own strengths to contribute. And so after about being on the team for a year and a half or 2 years, Kim on our team, who at the time was our CEO, did it with me. Shared some stories. She shared back some patterns, and we had the first iteration of my why, which I loved. It was liberating. And over the years, I've continued to tweak the language to make the words match the feeling. And fortunately, this is what I do every day. So, about 2 years ago, 2 years ago this January, we had a workshop with 2 other people from our team. And I said to them, "Hey guys, I'm thinking of updating my why to this." And they know me really well, that they gave me some great feedback. But yeah, I did the process just like anyone else.
Exactly. One of the I was thinking about one of the things I was thinking, like, we want things, like, we live in an age, we want things instantly, like just what you said, right? What was that artist name again, or the singer, or whatever it is, right?
Right.
And boom, it pops up, right? What I get it from you is like your why. It wasn't just a boom, now I got it. It was a development, and that came from your purpose, right?
Yeah.
So is that it? Like, do people have to be patient and keep working on it? Or is it definitely with your tools possible to say, okay, yeah, boom, you follow these steps and you will get it instantly?
Well, one, you need to have to want to find your why, right? It's like, how many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? One, but the light bulb really has to want to change, right? So people have to want to find it. And if you want to find it, you can, but it's a process, and it's not a 7-step process, over 7 weeks. Like, it takes time. Also, like, so long as you're old enough and you've had enough life experience, when you reflect back on the times and the people who matter most in your life, you will learn more about yourself. You'll have greater clarity of who you are at your best, the times you've been at your best, and the times you've been most challenged. When the first time I came out with my why statement, which was to connect with people in meaningful ways so we live in a more fulfilled world. And that verb to connect, it wasn't the right one. Yeah. But I knew what my why was. And even though I didn't have the perfect words, and make no mistake of it, language is a helpful tool, because then I can share it with others in a way that they can understand it. And then my why can scale, right? But I didn't have the words perfectly yet, but I knew the feeling. So I just did it. Like, instead of locking myself in a room with a thesaurus and like looking for the right words, I just lived it. And in living it, I did a workshop to help other people find their why. And at the end of the workshop, a middle-aged woman from just north of New York City, couldn't pick her out of a lineup today. She came up to me and said, "Oh my God, that was so engaging. You're so engaging." And I went, "That's it.
Thank you."
Yeah, that's the word. And there's a company based in Switzerland called Victorinox. They make the Swiss Army knife. They found their why because customers wrote into them saying, "You're a companion for life." And they went, "Oh my God, that's our why. That's what we do for our people inside. That's what we do for our communities. And then that's what we do with our products," which makes now I understand why they have really high quality products, because they're intended to last for someone's life. Right. So yeah, it's most important to live it than to know the perfect words. There's no app for that. we have an online course, but there's no app for it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just like, what are the 7 steps to fall in love? I could tell you, like, put your needs secondary to theirs, like put them ahead of you. When you have a great day, first ask how their day was. Like, do those things. Which, if it'll probably take more than 7 months and less than 7 years. But if at 7 years you don't love them,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what you mentioned is profound, not just for finding your why, but in everything. So many people, they're trying to get it perfect, right? And they get stuck and they don't take action. And that's what I took from this is like, yes, feel it in your heart, take action,
and course correct.
Exactly, and course correct.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's finding your why is an art, but we've put a scientific process behind it to help, but it's an art. And when is art done? Usually when you put it up, but it evolves.
Yeah. Absolutely. And everybody looks at it differently.
Yes. Right? Well said. Yes.
Which makes it actually really awesome. That's what that happens, right? If you would have kept looking for it and never brought it out there, that lady would have never gone, right? She would have never come up to you and say you're engaged, or she might have, but it would have never clicked with you like, this is it.
Well, and to your point, you could have two people who have the exact same words for their why. But yet it comes from totally different life experiences, and they could mean, unique things with the same words. Yep. You could say content and I could say content, and it means and looks like two different things. So I love that notion of it's the perspective as well.
Yep. Beautiful, man. Look, time flies when we're having fun and sharing value. I really appreciate it. Stephen, people that have more questions, I know I do, right? How can they how can they connect with you? How can how can they engage with you?
Oh.
Right.
I'm good with connect as well.
I know, but I thought, hey, gotta use your word.
Cool. No, all good. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you can learn more at our site, simonsinek.com. I'm on all the usual places. I'm most active on LinkedIn. So if I shared something that resonated or there's something we can do to help, please feel free to reach out. If you do connect on LinkedIn, just include a personal note so that I know who you are and to accept. And can I say one last thing?
Absolutely. Yeah.
When I saw this request come through and I saw fearless father, and my response is, I don't believe in it, because I don't believe in fearless. I believe it's what you do with the fear and how can you turn anxiety into excitement. Exactly. And so I don't believe in fearless. I believe in if it scares you, it's probably important. I have lots of fear in my life, usually around letting people down, the people that I love and care most. And so the goal is not to be fearless or to present to others that you have no fear. I think it's to embrace the fear and do it for good reason and to serve others.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Fear. I pronounce it now as fear is the way. Fear shows you the way of something that you must do. I keep reminding people, unless there's a tiger, then you just
yeah.
Sure, fear is absolutely valid. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Really. Again, thank you so much for being on. Everybody else for watching. I appreciate all of you for taking the time to be here. Make sure press that heart button, press that share button if you find this valuable, so other people can take advantage of it as well. So until next time, everybody, have an amazing rest of the day wherever you are in the world. For me, it's date night, so I'm going to enjoy myself together, put the kids to bed and have some fun with my wife. So I wish everybody an amazing time. Take care.